So I didn't tell you guys, but I was thinking about making the RS7 a Stance Nation car. What do you think about that stance, right? It looks really good, huh? How about the front? Low and slow, baby. Yeah, right. Hey guys, welcome back. I'm Samcrac, and today we're gonna get some real work done on the Audi RS7. We're gonna get that front end put back on this car, make it look really good, like it just came from the factory. Talking about looking good, I could use a little bit of work in that category, but just in the nick of time, I got my Dollar Shave Club monthly delivery. Now, if you've been watching my channel for a while, you know that I've been a big fan of Dollar Shave Club. But what you might not know is that Dollar Shave Club is way more than just razors. They offer body wash, soap, shampoo, conditioner, a bunch of different hair styling products, and I really love their Superba toothpaste and mint leaf lip balm. They have basically everything you need for your daily grooming routine. If you jump to my link in the description box below or visit dollarshaveclub.com/Samcrac, Dollar Shave Club is going to hook you guys up with the Daily Essentials Starter Set for only $5, which includes this premium weighty executive razor and a full box of cartridges. They're also going to give you a bottle of their Amber Lavender Body Wash and Dr. Carver Shave Butter, and of course, can't forget these. You guys know what these are, the One Wipe Charlies. So only $5 for all that stuff. Shipping is also included. They're basically giving it away to you guys, so make sure you hit up that link in the description box below. And if you'll excuse me for one moment, I've got to shave. Oh, this is much better. I really want to thank Dollar Shave Club for the clean shave and also for being continued sponsors of the channel. Thank you so much, Dollar Shave Club. Without guys like you, builds like this wouldn't be possible. Before we go and assemble the front bumper and then throw it on the front of the RS7, I want to make sure everything's sorted. Things are a lot simpler when the front bumper is off. So at the body shop, when they did some of that work, they did put the new radiator in that I talked to you guys about before, because this front bash bar was completely missing when I got the car. So they put that in, then they put that in. So I've already let the lower coolant hose out. What I'm going to do now is start the car. I'm going to throw some distilled water in here to flush any remaining stuff out, let it pump everything out. We'll do basically a coolant flush. While I'm in there, I want to make sure that the AC is cold, because you know, I don't know if they removed this condenser or not to put the radiator in. I'm really hoping they didn't, because I don't have to recharge the system. So let's start it up and let's figure out what works, what doesn't. Let's flush the coolant. It's hard to hear on camera while this is running, but you can actively hear the air suspension trying to fill up, and then there's a consistent leak. This is only on the driver's side rear. I went and listened to all the other ones, and they all sound pretty good. Since I'm really inquisitive and I want that to stop, because I'd like to take this car on a test drive sooner than later, even with or without the bumper, which hopefully we'll get that bumper on before, I'm going to back the car up on some ramps and see if we can't figure out what that is. This looks to be an airbag, and yeah, it's crushed. But surprisingly, the other side is also crushed. If you guys remember, I'll put up on the screen, that side of the rear was primarily damaged. This is actually the non-problematic side. Here's our loose wire. I'm not even sure where that's supposed to go. I'm gonna have to figure that out. But you can see these bags look to be pretty kinked up. Although that side isn't losing air like this one, but this side looks really kinked up here.
Removal of these air springs was super easy. 10mm wrench to the nut holding the air line on, and then the spring just pulls out of place. Now at first I was slightly puzzled because both of the air springs look crushed. Even though they both look folded, I do believe the one side would still operate just fine, but since it is a suspension component, you always want to replace those in pairs, so I'm going to get 2 brand new air springs. You can clearly see the big tear in the side that had the air leak on it, and that's likely because it got pushed forward by the impact of the accident. It just pushed up against the control arm there enough to slice open the boot and put a little hole in the air bladder inside.
Alright, so we had everything kind of lined up, everything hooked up. You probably saw in the time lapse. I almost forgot to put these 2 big ducts in. Wow, those are like really, really big. But everything is good with the exception of one thing. I counted enough plugs in the bumper to go in each harness, except this one does not have a mate. And knowing Volkswagen Audi stuff, I'm darn near positive I know what this is. This appears to be the harness for what goes in right here, an ambient air temperature sensor. So I'm gonna look around and see if I have a spare one lying around from the Jetta days, because I know I had a couple of those. If not, we're gonna have to run out to the auto parts store and get it so we can put the bumper on finally. We're on our way to Audi to buy that part right now. It retails for like 30 bucks, but I asked the guy if he could give me some sort of wholesale discount, and that's a big tip I want to give you guys at home. A lot of people wrote me after the last video, the video where I talked about how much the RS7 cost me, and they all asked, where did you buy parts so cheap? I did a video in the past, I'll link it right here, talking about all the different places that I buy all of my parts from, and those places pretty much remain the same today. But when it comes to buying at the dealership, their parts price markup is so big, there is a lot of room to play with numbers. And if you ask, a lot of times they can offer you some sort of wholesale discount, because to all the body shops, to all the other dealerships, they're already cutting like 20 to 30+% off depending on how much volume they buy. So just by asking, letting them know that you know that there are other discounts to be had out there online, but you need it in a more timely fashion, you want to pick it up local, a lot of times they'll work with you. I just asked him now on the phone, and the guy told me, yeah, just come in, we'll work something out.
Props to Audi of Wesley Chapel. You actually walk through their service bay to get to the part center, which was immaculate. And today they just happen to have an R8 V10 Plus sitting there getting worked on.
So the list on the sensor was 33. They sold it to me for 25. So just for asking, that's about a 20% off discount. Not bad. And I like to compare everything to the Ford dealership that I do a lot of business with. And I've rebuilt 3 front-end Ford cars, one being a Lincoln, one being this Fiesta ST I'm driving right now, and the other one being my Focus RS. I order a good amount of parts through them, and they give me somewhere between a 25 and 30% off discount. I've definitely spent the most with them when it comes to dealerships and parts, and so 20% off just for asking is not bad. If they offer like a 5 or 10% discount, you know, it's really not much, considering that these parts are marked up in some cases in excess of almost 100%. All right, let's see if I was actually correct in saying that this was an ambient air temp sensor. I don't have 2 hands, but here is one hand, here is the other, and let's see. I think that's it. number one at installing the bumper has been a failure. Now this is going to be somewhat interesting because there's a ton of things, like I've shown you a million times, ready to plug in, but there's really not a lot of space to do so. And by plugging it in now, it just interferes and puts specific things in the way of getting it fitting on the actual car. On top of it, this is probably the heaviest bumper I've ever dealt with all the electronics in it. I'm guessing it's 60 or 80 pounds distributed, you know, over what, 6 feet? So it's really, really awkward to try and put in. I got a little assistance earlier, and still something is not fitting right. So I'm gonna look at everything. The other thing is when I get it's somewhat aligned, it seems that there's a small gap underneath the headlights. To make things a little bit easier, I'm gonna remove the bottom panel that's underneath the bumper here. That'll make things a little bit less awkward. Then we can try and fit the bumper again. Alright, so after a good amount of time messing with and wrestling with this bumper, it is sitting in, well, what I believe to be the appropriate place, although things aren't perfect. But if we start here on the sides where the fender meets the bumper, this is really, really good. And I know you're gonna say, oh, there's this little gap here. Nothing is screwed in. When this is all screwed in, all that's gonna go away, and everything is edge to edge. Really, really nice. Couldn't ask for it to fit better there. Our problem lies underneath the headlights. Now, if you look underneath the headlights, you see there's a nice size gap there, and also on this side. Now, I'm really hoping I'm just missing some sort of trim piece or gasket. This is a strange one. I know that I can adjust these headlights a little bit, maybe outwards and to the side, but up and down is gonna be a little tricky. We're gonna have to figure that out though for sure. Well guys, sometimes things just don't go the way you want them to. I've been messing around with this bumper for a good amount of time now, and that headlight gap is just way off. So I'm gonna take everything off. I'm gonna mess with the brackets that the headlight fits into, hopefully figure out a way to get those lowered because they just aren't sitting right. I've looked at countless amount of photos of how the A7 and RS7 headlight sits. It definitely is flush to the bumper and it's recessed a little bit. And regarding those rear air springs, well, I did have to order them from Germany, so it'll be a little bit of time before they get here, but as soon as they come in, they'll install in probably right around 10 minutes, which is a good thing. This is the reality of a rebuild project. As much as I wish things would just fit right on, bolt in, and I go on to the next thing, they don't sometimes, and you always end up finding more stuff wrong than you thought. But it's all right, we're still well within budget, and we're gonna get it done. We're gonna get it done right. So guys, I really appreciate you watching. If you enjoyed this one, be sure to hit that like button. Also, I gotta give a huge thanks to our sponsor, Dollar Shave Club, for being a continued sponsor of the channel. And a thank you to you guys at home. Without you guys watching, well, I couldn't do what I love doing, which is rebuilding cars. So thanks again so much to all of you, and until next time, I'll catch you very soon.